I wasn't ready. And I realize as I say that, you might be thinking that I wasn't ready for this. I actually almost chickened out of cutting it all off. But I had my wife cut it, and there was something very therapeutic about knowing that I walked out of that Airbnb, because I'm home now, walking out of that Airbnb and getting to just leave it. It was done. I did the thing that I was going to go do. And I had set up all the parameters to be safe while I was down there, both physically and mentally. And she chopped off my hair, and I did a TikTok video that I've been thinking about forever. And so did all the things, right? So pretty solid with this. Might trip my kid out a little bit, that I'm a little worried about, to be real honest. But no, now I just want to know what colors I should do next, because when you have buzzed hair, you should play with fun colors. And I just keep touching it. Like the first time I got my fade from long hair, I just kept touching the back of it. No, that's not what I mean by I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to come back to the real world. I did that part. Not the best. I'm trying to remove right and wrong from my vocabulary, because I think as humans, we get really stuck on this is right and this is wrong, and then that puts us in a box that we then have to unpack later. I don't want to unpack that later. I just want to unpack it now and just be done, right? So, my wife came and picked me up yesterday, and she sat on the couch and kind of puttered as I was finishing cleaning up. And she shaved my head, we finished cleaning up, and we left. I didn't think anything of it, because that's what you do when you pack up a house. You pack it up and leave. I think I could have done a little bit more in setting myself up, because I wrote until she showed up. I was doing the things until she showed up instead of a calming exiting strategy. And I had some returns to make at Target, and we don't have one here, so I ran the returns to Target, and that meant that I was with a lot of people in a very loud area again. And then we got home, and I turned my phone on for longer than the 1 hour at a time, and it was exhausting. I even found that I got to the point that I was just agitated, and not a little bit, but if the dog moved, which he's right there and he's really cute, but if he moved the wrong way, I was annoyed. Why did he do that? Yeah. There's a certain point that if your agitation has hit a level, and for me, it's either if I'm agitated with the animals or certain people. I've got a good friend of mine that I know if I'm annoyed with her, it's not her, it's me. She doesn't annoy me. She is one of the most beautiful souls in the entire world, and she busts her ass at everything she does. So if I'm annoyed, it's me, not her. So I turned my phone back off, and we sat down and we watched a couple of movies. And the first one was hilarious and totally worth it. It was Bad Moms Christmas, and you cannot go wrong with Bad Moms Christmas. They talk about the pressures of society, and they make it funny, and it just, and I love cheesy movies, so yeah, And I want to be friends with them, let's be really honest. Now, I will say the first time I watched it, I was younger than them, so it totally made it worth it. And then this time, I'm older than the characters, so, I know the actresses age with me, but, in the character, they make a reference about how old they are, and that their mom should respect them, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm older than that age. Alright, well, we'll just move past that miniature meltdown and just let it go, because it's superficial, right? No, I don't need to hold on to that. Cool, gone. So then we watched the personal life of David Copperfield. And I had thought my wife had said that it was a funny movie, because we had just watched a comedy, and I was in a place where, I need lighthearted. I just came out of a week of facing myself, And when you have to face yourself for a little bit, it kind of sucks. When you have to face yourself in the dark at night a little bit, kind of sucks. When you have to face yourself for a week and you willingly go in to be able to go through all the shit, like, that really fucking sucks. So, nothing heavy. Okay, thanks. This unicorn needs as many rainbows and unicorns, please. So we're watching David Copperfield, and then all of a sudden there's a scene where he's getting beaten. But that wasn't what I signed up for. So, I watched it. And you have to understand that part of the design of this last week is to be able to choose my own reactions moving forward. To choose, if I am triggered, what the next step is. And so in that moment, I felt it. I felt the pit of my stomach and why it terrified me and hurt so bad. And I looked at it. And I looked at my wife. And I said the affirmations in my head. I'm home. I'm safe. I survived. That's a movie, not me. And so she looked at me with panic on her face, and she was like, I didn't know. We can change it. And I said, no, I'm curious to see where it goes, because he opens the whole movie with whether or not I choose to be a hero of my own story, you'll just have to find out. I like people that make themselves their own heroes. Because I think we all can choose to do that, right? So there are definitely a few more parts that I don't want to say identified with, because they're not my story, but they were definitely things that I could feel. And so I allowed myself to feel them. I am a crybaby in most movies. I mean, come on, you put the right cute pup on a screen and some Sarah McLachlan and, like, I'm done. Like, I'm gonna sob for days. So I allowed myself to feel it. I allowed myself to watch it, and it did not disappoint in the end. Was it probably the best choice for coming home? No. Was it poetic? And did it feel good to be able to walk myself through these affirmations that I had just created this week? Yeah. And the thing is this main character thinks about things in the world very differently. And he feels things deeply. And that I can appreciate. But I don't think I was really ready for what it's going to be like to walk into this next week. So I'd started turning my phone on, I'd started answering things, and then I just stopped myself because I was like, I'm not answering them from a place of kindness that I want to be seen as. I want to be seen as kind. I want to be seen, not seen. I want to make sure that I am doing everything I can on my side of the street, that I am as kind as possible. How they perceive it, kind of on them. You know what I mean? Like, I can't change how you perceive me. I can only change how I give myself out. And at the point that I was no longer watching what I was saying or how I was responding, I just deleted everything and I just let it go. And so I woke up this morning. I was so excited to be home last night, and then I couldn't sleep. I'm a very delicate flower, so drinking caffeine after 1 o'clock is just not an option. And for the longest time, I always said caffeine doesn't affect me. I always said it never bothers me. Well, here's the truth of the matter. I can typically fall asleep right after a pot of coffee, but I don't stay asleep. And I have terrible nightmares, and my anxiety the next day is horrible. So the effects of caffeine are not what I grew up thinking they were. They are very different for me. And so as I lay in bed last night, I was like, I had too much sugar today, and I had too much caffeine, and I had too much people. I am safe. And God love this support dog that I have. He's not a real support dog, but at home he is definitely a support dog. So, yeah. That dog curled up on me in the middle of the night and I passed out. He always knows, and it's magical how he does it. So, finally I wake up this morning. I don't hit snoozes. I'm pretty sure I hit it 3 or 4 times, and I finally was able to like roll out of bed when we have an older dog, Rory. And Rory doesn't get in bed. She does not love on people. She's a little bit more like a cat. Like, you're here, ma'am. You can let me in the door. You can feed me. You can pat me behind the ears, and I'll be on my way. So I woke up, and she was right here. And I was like, oh, okay. Patted her, and she jumped off the bed. And because we slept on the air mattress last night due to some construction, the bed. I was like, all right, I'm up. Laundry needs to be done. The stuff needs to be unpacked. I need to get some stuff to my team to get next week going, to get it easier. And I feel like the world is suffocating me. I don't like that feeling. Especially after how hard I worked to go through that piece. So this morning, before jumping on here, one of the things I thought about is like, why does it feel like that? Well, one, I have been taught to respond to things my whole life. So am I really anxious, or am I responding to those things around me? And when you respond to the things around you, you're going to escalate. Laundry is not going anywhere. And I'll be real frank, apparently Oliver really enjoys the laundry pile because he is currently snuggled up in it. Laundry is not going anywhere. The things that I owe my teams, it doesn't matter if they get it on a Saturday or Monday, because quite frankly, it's the busiest day for them. They probably don't want the fucking information anyway, because then it might feel like I expect something of them, when in reality, I just owed them the information yesterday, so I want to get it to them. So it doesn't matter if I do it right now at 7:30 in the morning? No. Does it matter if I have the house sparkling clean before my wife gets home? No. Is she going to love me less if I don't get those things done? No. So the perception I have is that I have this stack of weight on me. The reality is I can't chew that whole stack at one time. So I can pick one thing at a time. My goal this week was to write. That was it. End of story. My goal was to write. And I know how to go into go mode. I know how to rock and roll. I know how to work my ass off. I don't have to be there yet. So this morning, I'm enjoying my coffee. And I'm going to continue snuggling my dog. I'm going to write a couple chapters with a peppermint Hershey's Kiss, because Breakfast of Champions. And when I get bored of writing, I will pick one task to tackle. Then I'll go back to writing. And then I will take one task. And here's my little trick. All of those tasks will take less than 30 minutes. That's how I trick myself into things. Like, if I know it's only going to take 10 minutes, I can con myself into anything. And that's what I've lived my whole life doing. I'm the ultimate con man, not to you, but to this guy up here. Because if I can trick her, him, her, whatever, into the things I need to make myself feel better later, it's so worth it. So I'll just con myself for the day, and I'll remind myself that whether I get that email out now in the next 5 minutes or I get it out in 3 hours, doesn't matter. And just to dive a little farther on that, it's not the email itself that gives me anxiety, because it's just some password information. It's really not a huge deal. My fear is that I will forget and that I have let down my team already because they don't have the information. So is that the team? Or is that... That's the big liar in here. The book that I'm reading that I love and adore right now is Living with Monks. And he talks about Billy the Bully. So he's named this voice in his head that tells him he can quit doing things, and he names his voice in his head that tells him like he doesn't have to do things, and his name is Billy. I haven't named mine yet, but I think I'm going to. I named my cysts that kept coming back. So I think I'm going to name my voice, and it can't be something like Karen or there's another name out now. I can't quite go there, but I will have to find something. Because that voice tells me that I'll never get it done. That voice tells me that I'm never going to accomplish anything in life. That voice tells me that I'm not worthy of living this life. That voice spiraled real fast, and it's just because I saw a pile of laundry. Just because I wanted to get an email out that I didn't get out on time. So, here are my choices. I can listen to the bully in my head, or I can con it and understand that I'm going to do the things I enjoy that are part of my goal list, and I'm going to write down a fucking Post-it because I live by those things. Post-its and Sharpies, man, they make the world go round. I'm sorry, but they do. Write down a Post-it of the things that will make me feel better, and if I have one Post-it for each thing that will make me feel better, then I get to crinkle it up and throw it away when it's done. And that feels good. So today, I'm going to work on what feels good and reintegrating myself slowly, very slowly, back into this world, because I didn't do that right. So as of right now, I call a do-over. Cheers. I'll see you guys on the flip side of my do-over.